Greetings from the farm. My name is Chisha Folatia and I'm so glad to have you with us again on the Mondo Farms channel. Do you remember in our first episode we looked at how we planted the first crop of pine trees in February of 2020? Well, on this episode we're going to go back and look at how we planted the following year's crop. Everything that we put down in 2021. There was pine, there was eucalyptus, and there was these things, which is Casuarina. So here's a little Casuarina tree that's doing really well. And it was planted on what used to be an anthill. Can you believe it? It was a monstrous anthill. And part of the preparations that we had to do was to clear all of this land behind me. We cleared about 8 hectares. And then get it ready for planting, which was done in February. As the old saying goes, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So we started to plan the 2021 tree crop quite early on. In fact, around June or July of last year. The first thing we had to do was look at the map of Winterthorn farm and decide where exactly we would locate the 2021 plantings. It made a lot of sense to locate them near or next to the 2-hectare plot where we had planted our first crop in February 2020. We knew we wanted to plant a lot more than the 3,000 pine trees we had started with in 2020. And also that we wanted to plant more types of trees this time around, onwards and upwards as they say. So we identified these pieces of land for the second succession of pine and eucalypts. For pine, we set out a plot of 1.3 hectares to the west of the previous plot and a smaller 0.4 hectares just to the north of it. That gave us a total of about 1.7 hectares. We wanted to plant a much larger amount of eucalypts, so we set aside a total of 3.7 hectares for them, located to the east of the 2020 pines. We used a stream that was then the northern boundary of Winterthorn farm as our limiting factor, and we made sure that we allocated all of the area in the land to the 2021 tree crop. After that, we had to calculate how many tree seedlings we would need to procure to fill the area. The plant spacing that we had adopted for the previous year was a 2-meter grid. I did a lot of research on plant spacings and areas required and came up with some stuff from the internet that may or maybe not have been very accurate or useful. Such is the nature of internet. Anyway, we calculated that we would need 3,000 pine and 5,000 eucalyptus seedlings. After contacting and trying to negotiate with a new supplier, we ended up going back to the same gentleman who had provided us with the pine seedlings for the 2020 crop. The next thing you know, we have a garden full of pine and eucalyptus seedlings at our home in Kalundu, which our gardener, Mr. Daka, had to nurse and look after for the next several months. By November, we had received most of the order and we got quite used to them. These are the eucalyptus seedlings that we're putting down at Winterthorn this year. This rainy season. Some good rain last night. These should be ready to go down into the ground by end of November. Somehow early December, sorry. There's a couple of thousand of them. 5,000 something to be exact. Here's a bit more mature. This group is a little bit more mature. Various ages and sizes of them. Some are ready to go, others not so much, still babies, but it was good. And these are 2,000 of the pine trees, the seedlings that we're putting down this year. Arrived yesterday. They're looking good. Hard to believe these are going to be huge trees in a couple of years, a few years actually. Okay, let's do some weeding. Every once in a while you come across these guys.
Oh, gonna get you. Gonna get you. Okay. Another one. A couple of more things. Tough. It's been early morning. Very beautiful.
Greetings from the farm. Doing some land clearing today and marking out where the marks are going to be. You can see Jerry behind me. He's marking, putting some yellow flags on where the boundaries are. After our experience in 2020 of mistakes and some communication mishaps, we devised a system of being able to mark the boundaries of the area to be cleared by the TLB. We placed bright pieces of cloth on trees and shrubs to show the ones we wanted to be left standing. We called them flags, and it worked out very well. Welcome to the hill. It's serious exercise.
So that's yellow mark. That one part.
Those are like corners and boundaries.
Okay.
Here comes the big guns. In 2020, we had suffered long delays after trying to do land clearing manually. So this time around, and having learnt our lessons, we plan to start land clearing with a higher TLB right away. It's cheaper in the long run and much quicker. Now here is some true African ingenuity. In this part of the world, we have an expression saying, to make a plan. Well, here is exactly what that is, as the team figured out how to get a TLB down from a flatbed that hadn't come with any ramps. They used a nearby anthill as a natural ramp. Though I must say the process took some time and some very careful driving on both sides. The first TLB was hired in November, and we spent about 4 weeks clearing land at Westgate for the rain season crops like beans, groundnuts, butternut, watermelon, etc. But that is another story. We actually only got to clearing plantations for the 2021 tree crop when the TLB came back in mid-January after the Christmas break. Greetings from the farm. Sunday afternoon, watching the TLB clearing the fields that we're going to be growing the eucalyptus trees this year. Here down in plantations at the very north corner of the farm. Over here behind me is Alaska, the other side of that. I've come with the family to them to have a look and see what they do here. Let's have a look at what the TLB does. Chamamunga twice, 3 times. Setting out of the areas to be cleared for planting is always a continuous process, and you have to keep making corrections and adjustments as you go along. It's actually more difficult at this time of year, the rain season. This is because the bush has really grown and the ground is slippery, so the TLB sometimes struggles to push away the dirt. And in addition, you lose some days of work when there's heavy rain. This is land clearing. Literally going into the bush and clearing to make the farm. You buy a piece of bush and you make a farm. There's a very big difference. The kids were laughing the other day that we used to call this place a farm, but it was just bush. I remember I used to stand there watching the TLB working for long periods of time. I don't know why looking at heavy machinery in action still fascinates me even at this age. Right behind me. One day we'll be looking back at this and saying, this is what this place used to look like, and this is what we did to make the farm. TLB clearing, 20th January 2021. Okay, pano pa Clinton. Vanasova nikuja mostly. Oh yeah. Ama dabu is a place. Keze chintu then chaenda. Till we came back for a second round here. And we're doing more of the ground land clearing. Removing some of these larger rocks. So vile banji vimastamsi vieseko o vanavichota. Okay. After some clearing had been done, I decided to take a drive across plantations as we were inspecting the work. Okay, not quite smooth as a baby's bottom, but cleared enough to be able to drive around in a Toyota Hilux, of course. Perhaps not so easy in a Corona. Oh, I can hear all that rattling and squeaking. My car was suffering from the effects of having to drive up and down the rough roads up to the farm 2 or 3 times a week. Anyway, that's what the Hilux is designed for, right? It was just amazing to be able to get across that space so easily. The land clearing exercise continues. So we're back at plantations, right at the very edge of a place where we call the forest. And we're just trying to adjust the place where the TLB should be doing their land clearing as it enters into this week. So the guys are just stepping up, putting some in here. We're trying to demarcate a straight line from this forest up to the other side. I'm not much of a narrator. That's the thing. It's near Chikulu, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Palika flag? Oh, Palik. Sorry. You may be wondering about that look of concern on my face there. I had a couple of reasons to be anxious. Firstly, financial. I'm paying for all this investment in earth-moving equipment and diesel, which is costing us 3,000 kwacha a day, etc., etc. It really adds up. Secondly, personal. How do we really know that there aren't any serpents in this bush? I can see the headlines now. Here is the news, read by Kenneth Manduma. Local businessman Chisha Folotia has been bitten by a black mamba while clearing bush at his farm in Chongwe. Just kidding. Yeah. If I saw yapa easy, caught in a bit of a rain showers. This is what we want. More than anything else, we need water. Okay. That was fun. Yes, of course, the other two also joined me in the car to wait out the rain. By the end of January, we had finished transporting all the tree seedlings from our house in Lusaka to the farm. Here they are in a temporary nursery we set up at Riverside.
Now straight to be just straight. Just going to my
It was getting closer and closer to the time of planting, and in early February we had shifted the tree seedlings over to plantations. As always, the ground was first sprayed with the termicide. Pine is a softwood and termites love the taste and texture of pine.
So, yambano upeleka kwa jamani. Make sure paper spraying you.
Goodness, those pallets are heavy, and it usually takes 2 people to actually lift one.
New bed pines 2020, 2021.
The planting of the 2021 pine started on February 17 at a field that we had named Clinton. As you can see, we used the same 2 meter by 2 meter spacing that we had adopted last year. So here is the Mondo Farms tree planting system we used in 2021. Step 1. You dig planting holes at about 30 centimeters deep at the required spacing. Step 2. You drench with a termicide. I'll say it again. Termites are not our friend. Step 2A. Keep reminding the staff who are spraying over and over again, reminding them about the masks and safety goggles that the company provides. Why are they still in the storeroom at Riverside?
Chicken manure.
The issue of PPE is a major factor when it comes to farms in Africa and people looking after themselves. Step 3. Apply 2 handfuls of chicken manure. We decided to use chicken manure this year instead of fertilizer in order to reduce costs. Remember how I mentioned that the TLB and the diesel were costing us so much?
Yeah, these Zulas want too much. Okay. Yeah. We must see how much to mix, eh? Okay. Yeah. So. Unashita mixed moja. Bajabu rawashanga kumbuyo. Okay.
Step 4. Mix the chicken manure in with the soil.
Oh. Osomo gandienda atungamba na manai.
Step 5 is to place the tree seedlings into the hole.
This is Steve unoshanga na ma plastics.
Step 6 is we compact the soil around the seedling and make sure the seedling is upright.
So, hii chiribu kuichoseratwe ni saka.
Step 7, remove amasakas from the seedling. Now this move is something we later came to regret with the pine 2021 crop after a few months when we noticed a rather low establishment rate. But we'll talk about that more in a later video. After we had finished planting all the pine seedlings, we then started putting down eucalypts in the part of plantations that had been allocated for them. Here we are working on the layout of the blocks.
Yenda kuboho. Okay. Huku simu na shangi.
Na shangi. So kutafuta road monga ijaita kamba pali jikimtengo. Straight na boho hibu na 5 meters.
The blue gum seedlings were much smaller than their pine counterparts, and they have this greenish, orange-brownish color that makes them hard to spot against the brown gravel. I've always had to look very hard to see the lines of eucalyptus plants, whereas pines are very easy to spot with their light greenish color.
Starting straight, utasia 5 meters per boko ileta kamba ya spacing ya road. Kwa na diva.
Another day at the farm. Whew. It's a walk in here, which is good because I'm feeling my face is getting a bit chubby. Okay, so it's bigger portions since the kids left. I see it now. I see it. Of the car.
Sadly, by late February, our trusted TLB that we had been working with for so many months was feeling the strain of all that pressure. It had started to break down a lot, and eventually we just had to say goodbye to it and bring in a substitute from another company. In order to make up for the days we had lost in the breakdowns, we decided to also bring in an excavator. Now that is a serious machine. The two machines worked very well together, and here they are gobbling up an anthill.
Never get tired of watching this. Amazing. Human beings versus nature.
You can see how it's able to easily push the tree stumps, roots and branches out of the way. Amazing. Give me a piece of heavy machinery any day.
Greetings from the farm. I am standing in the middle of plantations in the new extended area where we are planting the new eucalyptus trees. It's Tuesday the 23rd of February. Things are moving well enough. This project as it is. So here behind me on this hill you can see the eucalyptus seedlings that have been planted. It's very difficult to tell. They're quite different from the pine trees, which are easy to see. So let me show you one here. Lots of machinery going on here at our farm. So you could probably just about make out behind my shoulder there the TLB and the excavator doing their thing across on Alaska on the other side. So we're really finishing the last section of the earthworks that we have. Hopefully the excavator is finishing at Alaska today and we'll be shifting him over to the water reservoir. So lots of things happening. Behind me here is a bag, some bags of the chicken manure, which we use to plant when we're planting inside the holes for the eucalyptus seedlings. Let me turn the camera around and you can see some of the eucalyptus seedlings in the lines. So these eucalyptus seedlings, the ones we had parked with us at home for a couple of months, from about September into October, into November, December, letting them grow, develop, now being planted. There's some. So they're planted in 2x2 grids. see them here. Here's one. Very interesting because they really blend in with the natural thing. And we didn't overly clear the land like we did last year when we planted the first pine, which we felt, the reason for that is that we felt that it was really taking away the topsoil, which was in the long run detrimental to the soil. Here's more of them. Small little eucalyptus seedling things. We'll see them in a couple of years. They're going to grow.
This scene shows the tree planting at its height. Lots of activity, lots of noise from all the machinery, lots of progress. Yes, this is what we love. Now I have to be honest and admit that we got a bit carried away with the land clearing and added a few pieces that were not originally supposed to be cleared. Now what we really wanted to do was finish off all the available space in the area bordered by the Alaska stream so we wouldn't have to come back to it the following year. So by the end of February, we realized that we needed some more seedlings. But by that time in the planting cycle, the supplier had run out of eucalypts and could only give us a few more seedlings. He then offered us another type of commercially planted tree that we had also been considering, which is called Casuarina. It kind of looks like pine, but has leaves that are a bit more dark green. The trees are native to Australasia, and one of its common names is Australian pine. Casuarina's long straight trunks are also used for fencing and electricity poles. By the beginning of March, we were nearing the end of planting, and here you can see when we brought the excavator back to plantations for one last time. We needed it to spread out and level the soil from that big anthill more evenly before we could plant the Casuarina seedlings. By the way, this is the same anthill that I described in the introduction to this video. All the planting of the 2021 tree crop was completed by mid-March. This had been quite an epic journey. Here's a quick look at how the Casuarina trees looked after establishing in the ground. We're going to keep sharing videos of how the 2021 tree crop is faring, and soon we'll also be showing you how we are already getting ready for next year's tree crop. The Mondo Farm journey continues. So that's the story of the 2021 tree crop here at Winterthorn. The Mondo Farms channel continues to grow, and we'll continue to keep giving you more stories about all the things that happen here as we share with our community and as we grow this farm. We look back at how we procured the seedlings, at how we cleared the land, lots of machinery, lots of planning. I'm standing right in the middle of one of the eucalyptus blocks. You can see some of our great eucalyptus trees, little baby trees that did really well. If anything, in summary, that was a success story of 2021. The pine crops, the pine trees that we planted this year, they didn't do so well. I think we saw the mistake there during the video. The Casuarina trees also did reasonably well. They're down there and they're doing okay. They're picking up, you know. But the eucalyptuses, oh yeah, blue gum, yeah, eucalyptus is doing really well. We planted 6,000 of them this year, and so far most of them have caught quite well. Before I go, please a reminder to like and subscribe. Please share with friends and family about this authentic Zambian channel that's showing a farming story as we build and grow this farm from the ground up. See you next time. Bye.